You ready to start? Or are you gonna wait for commissioners to go? Okay. All right. When you're ready.
Start. Is that ready? Oh, there he is. Perfect.
Test. There.
All right. Okay, I call this meeting of the Guam Election Commission to order. It is Thursday, February 15th, and it is 5:34. We're 4 minutes late, Pat. We are located here at the Guam Election Commission Conference Room in the Oka Building, Tamuning, Guam. We are also live on the GEC website at gec.guam.gov/board. Certification of quorum present includes myself, Jerry Crisostomo, Chairman, Commissioner Joseph Mafnas, Commissioner Ricky Orsini, Commissioner Joseph Meno, Commissioner Tony Gumatauta, Commissioner Benny Panaula, Commissioner Patrick Seville. Also present is our legal counsel, Vince Camacho, and our acting executive director, Tom San Agustin. Okay, certification of public notice requirements.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the notices did go out on February 8 and February 12, and they are in line with the publishing requirements.
Okay. Do I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there a second? Motion made by Commissioner Pinala, seconded by Commissioner Gumatauta. All those in favor, say aye. Okay. We'll move to item 4, which is the election of the vice chair position. As you know, our former vice chair, Alice Tyron, had to resign, so we are now in the process of electing a new vice chair. So I open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the Guam Election Commission.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Mafnas.
I second the nomination.
Motion by Commissioner Ricky Orsini to nominate Joseph Mafnas, seconded by Commissioner Panaula. Any further nominations? A motion to close? Commissioner Gumatauta, motion to close. So all those in favor of electing Commissioner Joseph Mafnas as vice chair, raise your hands. All those opposed? Congratulations, vice chair, who's served in the commission for quite a while now, is now the vice chair. It's your turn. Okay, let's move on to item 5, approval of meeting minutes. There are 2 meetings, January 12th and January 18th. There was a special meeting on the 12th for the Sanahanya vice chair, and then the vice mayor, and then January 18th, our regular meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move a motion to approve the minutes of January 12th and January 18th, subject to corrections.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Pernalla to approve the January 12th special meeting minutes, subject to corrections, as well as the January 18 regular meeting, subject to corrections, and seconded by Commissioner Joe Mena. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay. Moving to item number 6, correspondences. Tom?
Sure. All right, Commissioner. So our first correspondence is from Mr. Castro. He requested or he actually did a FOIA requesting copies for election certificates for the CCU elections from 2000 to 2023. We did inform him that we do just keep copies and the originals are given to the candidates and they are subjected to retention schedules. So we did provide him all the certificates we do have, and we also provided him a link to the, the election history of the CCU from inception.
Okay. There's no follow-up or further?
There was no follow-up after that. And then
item B.
Item B, it was an invitation for the public hearing for Bill 230-37. That's for the abolishment of the vice mayor office. The GEC was there at the public hearing, but simply just to provide to address any questions or concerns they had for the conduct of elections.
Okay.
And then item C, Mr. Chair, if I can just hand it to Vince to go down.
Yeah, item C, we wanted, received a letter from Senator Tello Titlery regarding the GVB Board of Directors and legal counsel. If we could just get maybe clarification on that letter and then the opinion from the Attorney General's office from her letter versus our role on this requirement.
Okay, Mr. Chair. So prior to this letter coming out and prior to the opinion actually being issued by the Attorney General's office, I did have a discussion with Senator Titlery as well as the Deputy Attorney General handling the matter, which at the time was Attorney Gary Gumatautau. And, you know, I did explain to them the Guam Election Commission's role with regard to the public disclosures, which is strictly limited to being the repository for all of boards, commissions, and elected officials to submit, at which time the Guam Election Commission would, within 3 days, transmit that directly to the Guam Ethics Commission. Guam Election Commission, all they do after that is whoever fails to file after the deadline, they submit the names to the Attorney General's office. We really have no enforcement authority to force anyone to what they put on the documents or when they submit the documents. So I did notify them of that. And so if you look at the opinion as to question number 2, whether the Election Commission is required to report all failures to file reports, we already told them that we agree with what the law says is we will transmit the names to the Guam Attorney General's office, subject to anyone not, but that's all we can do
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah, I think the issue with the senator was the GVB board members only file a conflict of interest statement as opposed to the full financial public disclosure like other boards and commissions. And that, again, that's where she has an issue, is that we're only requiring them to file their conflict of interest rather than a full public disclosure of their financial statements.
Yeah, and even with that, the Guam Election Commission doesn't verify, doesn't,
Yeah.
check to see if those disclosures are correct or not. It's whatever's filed gets transmitted to the Guam Ethics Commission. And then whoever fails to file, the only job that Guam Election Commission does is reports the failure to file. But they're in no position, Guam Election Commission is in no position to verify or, determine who's filing what. They're strictly the repository.
Right. So does the commission, I guess what the issue is, it's our role to then send letters out to these board of directors to say, please file your financial disclosures.
The law says we're strictly the repository.
We just collect.
We just collect.
Okay. I think that's the,
Mr. Chair.
yes, Commissioner.
I suspect I wasn't the only one, but I received a call from Senator Titlery and complaining about this. And she cited or told me about the letter from Mr. Guthrie in the AG's office, who makes reference to 4 GCA 13106, which provides in part that the Election Commission shall report to the Attorney General for appropriate action the name of any official or candidate who fails to file a financial report required by this chapter. I haven't had a chance to talk to our counsel about this. This seems to impose on us some duty to make that initial determination of who's supposed to file and who isn't, and then tell the AG if somebody on our supposed to file list didn't file. I understand there's an argument that the provision that was snuck into the Budget Act may not actually require GVB members to file financial reports, that they could still simply file something that says they have no conflict.
Conflict, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I passed that on as what the forces in favor of these reports are saying. I would like to add that Senator Taitigui also commented that she had spoken to Director Pangilinan, and Ms. Pangilinan said, we consulted with board counsel, and we have to follow that advice. I think Senator Taitigui thought that Maria should follow the advice of the AG, but I said, no, I think it's completely appropriate that our executive director followed the advice of our own attorney.
Counsel, yeah.
So that's my report on that.
Okay. Any,
Who's infallible,
Yeah.
as we all know.
The issue with what report needs to be filed, and so if you read the Attorney General's opinion with regard to at least the Guam Election Commission, it says fails to file a financial report required by this chapter. If you go back to the statute, the statute delineates what reports are filed by elected officials or appointed officials confirmed by the legislature and officials who serve on boards and commissions. They're distinct, completely distinct. It's 131041 and 131041 specifically says boards and commissions shall only file the conflicts of interest.
and that's,
13104 is for everyone else, which is the financial disclosure. If you go back to the budget bill makes no delineation. It just says GVB board members have to comply with the public disclosure law. So there's no guidance in the actual budget law with regards to whether it's the financials
or the conflict.
or the conflict. Because in both sections, it's called a financial disclosure form. Whether it's 13104 or 13104.1, they're both called financial disclosures. One just deals with conflicts for boards and commissions. The other one deals with everything else. So the budget law isn't very clear, although that was her intent. So what I did tell her was, we agree that the only thing the budget law really does is it allows GVB, or it requires all GVB board members to file. The reason is because most of the GVB board members are elected. They're not appointed
Yeah.
or confirmed by the legislature. So they don't even fall within the Public Disclosure Act. That budget law, we agreed, will require them to do so. Now, the type of report they filed is not anywhere in the budget law, although she would like to extrapolate that in there by saying, well, that word notwithstanding means they have to file financials. But nowhere to me did it say that. So that was my guidance to the executive director.
Yeah, because I understand they all have filed their conflict of interest statement.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair. And then we also have forwarded to the Ethics Commission as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask
Sure.
one more question. Tom, if my memory's right, we keep the board, the GEC keeps a listing of all the officials who are required to file.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's an ongoing function. We somehow internally go through a process of deciding whose name goes on that list or what position goes on that list.
Yes, we still do. So what we do is we try and update it as much as possible, especially when it regards to the boards and commission, because there's some terms, they're not all the same. So we try and keep it as updated as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all we do is check off if they're on that list.
Then they will have to file with us.
And if they don't, then we pass that on to the AG.
Oh, I'm sorry. If they
don't
have
file.
not, if they do not file,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. If they didn't file with us, then an extension or anything like that, then we would have to forward them to the
Right.
AG's office.
Yeah.
Is that consistent with your advice? Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Allen?
just one thing real quick. So if you go to page 16, second paragraph, section 38 is prefaced with the phrase, notwithstanding any other provision of law. Section 38 mandates that all members of the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors submit financial reports would appear to supersede 4 GCA 13104.1, even though the later is also preferred with the phrase, notwithstanding any other provision of the law. I think this is probably where the confusion lies.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, Tom, anything else to add on this?
So we do have a couple more correspondence here. So item D, Ms. Rachel Cobbs reached out to us. She wants to work with the GEC in putting together a guidebook for recruiting poll workers. It's still ongoing. We haven't set a meet date where we can speak with her, but as soon as we do so, we'll continue to update the board. And then item E, Mr. Chair, is the public hearing for the election bills that were brought up on February 9th. We did forward the members a draft testimony prior to the hearing, and it's actually on item H if you want to address it at that time.
Okay.
And then lastly, Mr. Chair, item F, Mr. Ricky Lass, he was inquiring on presidential candidates in Guam. We did respond to him. We advised him of the requirements to be on the general election straw poll ballot, and we also advised him on the deadline, the September deadline to do so.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Any questions from the commissioners on the correspondences? Yeah, Commissioner Matos.
On this one here, for the presidential, did you send a correspondent, or how did you send the?
Well, he did ask through email, so we did email him a correspondent. We cited the law, how he would get on the ballot, or who are the candidates that will be placed on the ballot. And also, the law does specify the deadline, which is, I believe, September 1st, to make his request to be on the
This is the general
presidential straw.
election.
Yes, the general election straw poll ballot. Yeah.
Yeah, just, for the sake of, I appreciate if we can have it on the,
Oh,
the
the
agenda
the
so that
response.
we know
oh,
that
the response. Okay.
there's a correspondent was sent out to this guy.
Okay. Yes, I can do that, and we can have that down next time for the next meeting.
Thank you.
So just for public information on the straw poll, what is the requirement to be on that straw poll for these presidential
So
candidates?
the two requirements, Mr. Chair, are, or one of the requirements is, I believe the Democratic and Republican nominee will be placed on the straw poll ballot given, and then I believe any candidate, I believe representing a party can, upon request to the commission, be placed on the straw poll ballot.
Third parties?
Yeah, as long as it's done so prior to the September 1st
September.
deadline, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because there's several third parties.
Yes, I believe we
I
have
mean, I think
a
this
couple parties.
gentleman represents one of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to then the executive director's report.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Chair, we do have the timeline available for you guys. So just some upcoming dates that are important. So February 21st is the deadline for the GGRF candidates to file their nominating petitions, as well as February 26th, we'll be beginning to accept nominating petitions for candidates in the primary election. All right. And then if you guys have any questions on the timeline so far, I can address them. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr.
Is that today?
Yeah, we have already sent out our letters to the stakeholders. That's our partners in GPD, DOE, GPA. Those letters have been sent out already, so we already reached out. make contact. Okay. And
Okay, item B, the monthly voter by precinct.
yes. All right, Mr. Chair, as of today, or January 25th, we are at 56,482 voters. And there you can see the breakdown, I believe, of the ads. There were 455 were done through the motor voter program. We did have about 45 come through in the online. We are seeing that area start to pick up as the election draws, as we get closer to the election. And yes. The 45 is on the next page. There's the page 32, the online registration report.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Item D.
Item D is our monthly financials. We are current. On page 34, these are the expenditures that we have spent in the months of December for the month of January for your review. And then also page 36 is the HAVA account, or the HAVA election security account, and the balances and the transactions for the month of February.
Is this the balance?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe there was only 2 transactions for that so far for the month of February.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah,
Commissioner Moffitt.
this one on the page 36. I see the $1,575 renew. Is that annually or how long is that membership good for?
Yes, that is annually, Mr. Vice Chair. That is for the year of 2024 to 2025. That is, I believe, the director's election center membership, where she's Sarah certified. Yeah.
Okay, so that's annually.
Yes, that's an annual.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to item E,
Okay.
Inspector General.
Yes, that is, the audit is still ongoing, Mr. Chair, and we are scheduled to meet with our grant specialist, Ms. Summer, this Tuesday. So we'll keep the board updated as after our meeting with her. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, they're just asking for some documents. They're going to address some of the documents they would like us to provide, and then of course, we'll work it out with them and see how we can do that.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the old business items, Campaign Finance Committee.
No updates, Mr. Chair. The committee has not set a meeting, but there is a bill that was introduced, Bill 233. I believe that's in the, that's a new business. Yeah, that's regarding moving the deadline from changing the financial campaign reporting deadlines to quarterly. Yeah, but other than that, there is no updates on that.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Sure, Commissioner.
Was Bill 233 introduced at the request of the commission?
Yes, it was. So the 7 bills that were introduced in the legislature, they were part of the legislative recommendations that the board submitted along with the election comparative analysis report.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, item B, update on the memoranda order.
Sir, what do you call that? Right now, we have not received any response from the party. I believe the director did send a follow-up letter on January 23rd, and no response has been given.
This is on the closed primary?
Yes, this is on
request.
the closed primary.
Okay, let's move on to item C, election manual update.
So right now, the manual updates are still ongoing, but of course, we're still working on it, but of course, we do have 7 bills that have reached the legislature, so we like to see how those bills, if passed, how they would affect the manual and the writing. So, but it's still ongoing as of now.
Is there you have any target date to complete?
Well, because it is close to the primary election, we don't anticipate completing the manual for the 2024 election, but we are continuing to update it, and hopefully will be done after the 2024 general election.
Okay, any questions? Let's go to item letter D, modernizing the election process, the
Yes.
E-poll?
So, yes, as for the e-poll books, that IFB is still actually ongoing. We have reviewed some. Our IT Jack has went through some of the specs, and I guess from, how would you say, because of some of the spec requirements, or I guess the added technology needed for this, for the e-poll books to be utilized, we may not be able to have it for the 2024 elections, but we still would like to keep the IFB on as continuing, so hopefully we can start continually generating the specs and hopefully issue out an IFB after the 2024 general election.
Mr. Chair, real quick. So with regards to the modernization of the election process, what I'd like to see, and I think the board would would appreciate the information, so we can get a plan together of like how we're going to get these e-poll books. I know we got to do it in phases. We can't do an entire election electronically all in one shot. It'd be too big of a shock to the system. So if we could kind of identify in phases, what are we looking at? And I mentioned to the director, maybe perhaps we look at some of the smaller villages that we can try it there, and then as we get better with the process, then we can move on to bigger villages and so forth. But there's a lot of requirements that need to happen and need to get done prior to all of this. Staff have to be trained. We need budget for buying all this equipment. And it's not also the initial equipment. We need backup equipment, in case one of the poll books fail. We need to have some sort of plan for what we're going to do should we come across a situation like that. So again, if we can get an idea, and I'm pretty sure the board would appreciate it, what your plan is going to be.
Sure. Yes, Mr. Commissioner, we can put together a plan, or at least something in phases, so at least you know where we're at, because we are still moving forward in finding the specs and finding actually something that what fits for the island. So sometimes like a lot of these technologies that they have for the elections, they're meant for bigger counties or bigger districts. So we're actually looking at what technologies that are out there that fits our precincts, our polling places. And
so when our visitors came in last month, that was some of the conversation that I was having with them. If we can look at areas back there and maybe they can make recommendations to us that fit our demographics, or what we're looking for. If they can give us information and contact information of who's out there that we can get in touch with, I don't think we have to reinvent the whole process. I think we can just duplicate, maybe fine tune a little bit, process that they're successful in doing so. And again, with the assistance of the U.S. Election Commission, giving us a direction and contact, that would definitely help us.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we just need a written plan. And with the 24 elections coming up, I think we can phase you need to tell us, under the modernization process, what do we intend to modernize in the 24 election process versus going forward in 26 and 28 and so forth, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to see like target dates, right? You know, what are our target dates? And are we going to be able to achieve those target dates? There's a lot of, you know, moving pieces. We understand that. But if we do it in phases and we do it, you know, in small chunks, I think we'll be able to accomplish, you know, a full-blown election electronically in the future. But we need to move forward and we need to get those plans in place.
Sure. Sure. We can put yes, sir. We can put it together a plan for
Thank
that.
you, Tom.
All right.
Okay, any further questions from the commissioners? Moving on to item E, the competitive grant application.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yes. So we did, we're pleased to report that we actually got approved for the competitive grant for the America Vote College program. We were actually awarded $66,000 for that program. And we do anticipate rolling it out we do anticipate implementing it for the summer program but right before the primary election. So what this program is we're going to solicit, I guess, the university students have a class on poll worker education, and then in hopes that we can get some of these students to come out and participate in becoming poll workers. Yeah. So we actually got around $66,000 for that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, just wanted to add, you know, from the board, we want to thank the executive director for her work and as well as the staff. This really is a bright spot for the Guam Election Commission, and our hats are off to you guys and your hard work and dedication.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Mafinas.
On this program, does it only covers UOG or does it cover also GCC?
That I believe the program is going to be offered at the university. That I can check with the director if another class will be offered at the
Because I know
community
last time
college.
we merged out to GCC as well.
Yeah. As of right now,
It's only for
as Mr.
UOG.
Vice Chair, it's the University of Guam right now that we're collaborating with.
So can we just follow up on that?
Yes, of course.
Thank
Just a footnote on that. I think where we're going on with this, right, is we're going to try to target precinct workers. Is that correct, Tom?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and so this training, this money is going to help us get really, really good precinct workers so that when we go to elections, you know, we're not going to have, you know, the same type of systematic problems that we've experienced in the past. So their training, that money is going to help Guam Election Commission tremendously.
Okay. Any further questions?
Sorry. So yes, Anna just mentioned, so it is going to be a UOG class, but GCC students can attend the class at the university. Yeah.
Okay, great. Congratulations on that, too. Item F, special election.
So, Mr. Chair, so Public Law 37-59 was passed on January 30, abolishing the office for the vice mayor. So the special election is no longer required. We have also, reached out to our stakeholders whom we initially made contact with, informing them of the cancellation.
Okay. Yep, so the elimination of the vice mayor position, Sinahania has moved the election, any special election for Sinahania. Okay, item G, the election security grant for FY 22 and 23.
So we are currently updating the narrative, the budget narrative for the grant, and as soon as that is completed, we'll provide an update with to the commissioners.
All right. Let's move on to item H through N, which is a slew of legislative measures, right? Some that you recently, are these already have public hearings, right, or are these new?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair. So these 7 bills their hearing was on February 9th. The testimony that was provided is on page 42 for you guys' review. So again, just to give some background, these bills were actually introduced as part of the GEC's legislative recommendations that we would normally give every even year, or odd year rather, I'm sorry, along with the election comparative analysis report.
Yeah.
Yes, I can say there were some questions, but for the most part, they understood that some of the they understood some of the reasoning behind some of the laws that are some of the bills that were introduced.
Okay. Commissioner Joe?
Yeah, I'd just like to commend Tom for being at the public hearing. He did a good job, so he answered questions that were, beyond, but he did good. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Good job, Tom.
Okay. Great. So that takes it all the way to letter N, right? All these bills?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that completes it all the way to letter
Okay,
N.
so no further old business. We go on to the new business section
So,
items.
yeah.
Item A.
So for new business, on January 30, we did do a Help America Vote Day. That was a success. We did have the governor come down, do a resolution as well. A proclamation, and as well as Senator Shelton did do a resolution for us as well. There we were able to work with the SGA, the student government rather, and then the PA 480 class, which helped us facilitate this proclamation. And we were able to reach out to a lot of students, passing out these QR codes, getting them registered. And we do anticipate having more of these campaigns at the university to try and reach out and get our young people to come out and vote.
Okay, great. Any questions?
Yeah, real quick. Tom, so I noticed when I was there, you guys had a QR code for the precinct officials.
Yes.
Did we get a lot of interest?
I believe with the QR codes, I think there was a few in regards to precinct officials. I do not have that number, but I think we had about 80 inquiries or activities with the QR code.
But that QR code goes directly straight to an application.
Yeah, we actually had two QR codes, one to register to vote and one for anyone who's interested in working that day. Yeah. So we did have some people who were interested in one voting and as well as participating.
But do we have a number on the number of people who applied?
At this moment, I don't have that number on me right now, but I can get that for you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just interested. I want to commend you guys. That was a very awesome ceremony, but it also got me thinking about not only precinct officials. So I came up with a QR code to register online.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can scan, use your phone, and I think the younger generation, rather than typing the link address or the website, you just scan with the QR code. So I'm going to give this to you, Tom. I think we ought to start using, these type of technologies to facilitate easier registration, voting, anything that goes out to the public. Those QR codes were...
Oh, yes. And then thank you, Commissioner Benny, but we do have QR codes that are for registration purposes right now, and they are disseminated with our volunteer voter registrars.
But it's not on our website.
Well,
I just checked.
Well, they do have the link on the website. It actually has the register to vote link on it. But as for outside and our flyers and everything, the QR code does accompany those materials.
Yeah. Okay. I think we ought to use that all on our web pages as well.
I think it's good to maximize the registration, but I don't think our problem is registration. Our problem is get out the vote.
Yes.
Is they register, but they don't show up to vote. And that's our biggest challenge in 24 going forward. Registration is available through all means.
Yes.
But they just don't show up to vote. And that's,
I think we
we need a technology for that.
We should do a survey with the QR code, send it out, find out. Because the people that are not voting are the younger generation, right? and those are the people that are going to utilize QR codes. You know, so again, just a suggestion, you might want to put a survey out and throw that out there.
Other than using the QR code to vote,
Yeah.
short of that, like they do, I think, in Oregon. One of the states does that.
Right. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, good work, so just did.
All right, like it, eh?
Okay, moving on to item B, this is the early vote, right?
Yes, so
Invitation to bid?
this is the IFB for the early vote center. We are hoping to release the IFB by March 4th, but we have it for you guys to review. And then, so if you'd like to take a look, the specs can be found on beginning page 27. Yeah.
Has everybody taken a look at the spec? It should be the similar specs to what we
Pretty
have.
similar to the one that we used
Yes,
before, right?
yes.
Any updates or any differences?
The only update I believe we want to work on is the width of the room. So we had some challenges at the last vote center where the room did meet the spec. However, the width was kind of small. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And when is the deadline for that?
If we do release it on the 4th, the deadline will be April 3rd. Yeah. So roughly around 30 days.
And we start early vote 30
Um,
days before?
Yes, we
primary.
start early vote is according to the timeline we will set to begin on July 3rd.
Third.
Yeah. Also, one of the differences is that last year we only had the vote center for 5 months, but because the primary has been moved up, we will have to occupy the vote center for a minimum of 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Early vote? Okay, item C, legal counsel.
Yes, so this is the RFP for legal services. Just for your review. So the legal services is for, we are hoping for solicit services for 5 years, which can be renewed up to 1 year upon written request by the commissioners.
Should we look at maybe perhaps extending that to 2 years if we want to?
So
Is
is
that
it,
possible? The option to extend?
so it's annually and then no more
Oh,
than
it-
5
it-
years, we go out to
Oh,
bid?
no, I'm sorry, yeah, on your RFP for legal counsel, if you look at it, it says it'll be for a period of 5 years, and then the agreement may be renewed for up to, by written notice, not to exceed 1 year.
Has it always been 5 years?
Yes, I believe so, I believe the, center.
I mean, that's a long time to hitch yourself to one horse.
Well, it's up to the commissioners how they would like to proceed with the RFP. Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Any, I know it's pretty long, the RFP, but if any commissioners have any changes or recommendations, please let the executive director know before we issue this.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, if it's possible, can I get a motion to approve the?
You need a motion, right,
IF
to
Yeah,
approve
for
it?
the IFB, at least are subject to any technical corrections.
So we need a motion for the early vote center,
Yes.
invitation to bid.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move a motion to approve the invitation for bid for the 2024 Early Vote Center.
Okay, motion by
Can
Commissioner
I
Canalo to.
amend that motion just subject to some corrections? I think I was going through it and there were some words that it says offer, but instead of offerer.
Subject to correction.
And then there was like compliance was misspelled.
Okay,
Subject to
yeah,
correction.
so motion to accept the bid, subject to corrections. We have to identify those, right, so that.
Just put it through the spell check.
Okay, second by Commissioner Meno. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Tom,
Yes.
if we selected, or I mean, what I'm saying is we put out this 3 bid, right, for example, and are we gonna visit the facility to see how it works or whatever, like the last time we did?
Yes, that's part of our due diligence process. Once we draw near, we will form a committee, and the members are welcome, of course, to join the
Just
committee.
make sure we get, the,
Yeah.
so we can look at the place.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that will be part of our due diligence.
Thank
Have we identified possible places?
No, at this moment, not right now. We haven't sent out the,
Yeah. We'll send the invitation to bid, and then we'll see who in the community responds to it, and then we'll break it down from there. Yeah.
What do you mean to
Yeah, but it's a 30-day early vote,
Yeah.
so it's long. Okay,
Sorry, where, never mind. But we're not filling out Exhibit A on the fees?
Oh, for the RFP for legal services.
Right, I'm sorry. Did we move on?
no, we're still in the invitation to bid for the early vote.
Yeah.
We'll go to that one next.
Yeah. Oh, we're on the early vote center. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
the
I thought
early
we
vote
had moved
center.
on to
So-
legal services.
Yeah. So we are, I guess, no discussion on that further. So is there a motion to, we already, Commissioner Pernalla made the motion, subject to corrections by Commissioner Orsini. We'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of the approving the invitation to bid for the early vote center signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay. Then you need another motion to
Yes.
approve the
RFP.
request for proposal
Yes.
for legal services.
Yes.
Again, probably subject to any kinds of corrections that we run through.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Commissioner Seville, you had questions on that?
Actually, Tom, I'm curious. So on page 21, so I'm trying to think, this is, oh, I see. So this is part of the proposed legal services agreement, but that's going to be negotiated?
yeah, yes, Mr. Chair. So it actually is, this is
Draft
just a
on it.
sample, yeah, Drew. I'll make sure they have that stricken across it as a sample.
All right. And then Exhibit A, which is, lists the hourly rate for the attorneys, legal assistants, and other. That is to be negotiated also?
Yes.
Okay. Will that be part of, so how does that work? The
So that
law
will-
firm will submit a proposal that has
Yeah.
an hourly rate?
Yes, and then I believe the fees and such will not be open yet, if I'm not correct.
Step one
Yeah.
is qualifying.
Mhm.
And then all qualified offers will be ranked. And then there's negotiations with
Based on the ranking.
first rank. And then that's when
Then we
they
can
can
open.
actually submit everything in one, but that goes in a sealed envelope.
Then, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're ranked number one, the negotiations start with those fees and negotiating.
Are we locked into the lowest fee proposal?
No.
That's why we're
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's a request for proposal.
Yeah, so it is part of also, it is laid out under the instructions, Commissioner, that the fee proposal be submitted, but it'll be sealed separately and then identified as the fee proposal.
Okay.
So they'll go through a qualification process first.
And I'm sorry, so if you have 2 qualified or 3 qualified firms applying, they're ranked?
Yes, and then that will be ranked by the selection panel. Yeah.
And the selection panel is,
The selection panel, I guess, the commissioners will
commissioner?
be, will determine who will be, I guess, on the panel.
And you do utilize a, I'm sorry, you do utilize a checklist, right, for,
Yes, there will be a matrix, and then I believe On page 9, there is a point scale showing how the bid will be reviewed and the evaluation criteria.
So each panel member will have a checklist and we go through this.
Yes, and then they will
individually.
score them individually, and then
Yeah. Because this will be the, at least for most of the commissioners, with the exception of Commissioner Seville and Commissioner Waffen, this will be our first time to pick a legal, for legal services.
yes.
Okay. Any further discussions on the RFP?
Thank you.
So is there a motion to accept the RFP subject to corrections? A motion by Commissioner Gamatauta to accept the request for proposal for legal services. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Commissioner Meno. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay. The RFP is accepted. Item D.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And then item D, actually, Mr. Chair, is the
Bill 233.
Bill 233, which is changes the reporting requirements from the campaign finance reporting requirements to quarterly. And then in that, Mr. Chair, that's also part of the testimony that was provided
Right.
on February 9th.
Yeah. Okay, any discussions on that? That's one of the recommendations we have made as commission. Okay, is that it for new business?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's it for new business.
Okay, then we'll move to item 10, which is legal counsel report.
A short update, as you know, the Attorney General has filed a petition for cert in the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, with regard to this case. And so I guess they're going to start scheduling. If they accept cert, then they will schedule briefing, but we haven't heard if they will accept the petition yet. So right now, the case in the Ninth Circuit is stayed pending what happens in the Supreme Court.
Okay, so that's still on hold. Right.
And just so the new commissioners are aware, the only reason why the GEC is involved in this is because in that law, it requires the GEC to conduct an election, a referendum with regard to the abortion law. So that's why we're in it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
Okay, any questions to legal? Okay, we'll move on then to public comment.
Mr. Chair, before we go to public
Sure.
comment, I have one, I know it's not on the agenda, but Tom, I know we've been putting this out on the table about visiting any changes on the site for polling place and all that. I mean, I know it's getting shorter.
Oh, yes.
The game.
Yes, Colonel, thank you for that. But in light of that, we just prepared you guys right now. If you guys wanted to take a look, the commission did ask in the last meeting for a precinct realignment, and we were able to generate a little bit of the report. If you guys like, we can review it right now.
Sure.
Yes.
I like that, precinct realignment.
It's about time.
So right now, the current law does state that we do realign the precinct if it's substantially greater than 800 registered voters for that. So I believe the districts that are of interest are Dedido, Chigo, Dedido and Chigo. So by realigning by adding at least two more precincts to Dedido and one more to Chigo, we will actually have the numbers be represented around 900 voters per precinct. Yes. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think other than the addition of the precincts, we're also looking at the sites.
Yes,
right?
yes,
More
and then-
accessible sites.
Yes, so we did, sorry, Colonel, if I didn't address that, but we did already reach out to DOE, informing them that we would like to begin the visiting the schools, and we are going to be coordinating with the principals in that, and of course, we'll reach out to the, I believe, your committee that you're in visiting the polling sites.
But also, are we looking for new sites as well?
Yes, we are. We are always exploring new sites. We are looking into any areas that we may visit. I believe for Sinahanya, we were exploring, I believe, the Bishop Garner Memorial School. I believe that's still something we can explore in that area.
But no update on that yet.
Yes, no update. We just sent the notices out to our stakeholders that we'll be contacting the principals and letting them know that we'll be going up.
Mr. Chair, I think one of the concerns that we have is, those particular precincts that have traffic issues, I think those are the kind of places that we're kind of like targeting if we can find a new location, because it's very difficult for the voters to get in and vote, and the traffic is, not conducive to our requirements.
Yeah.
So if you could look at those.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And,
Any further
no, and that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
additions? Okay. All right, public comment? Okay, then we'll move on to our next meeting in March.
Meeting is scheduled for March 21st, sir.
March 21st. Right, is everybody going to be on island, or any plans to be off island? Okay, March 21st, then at 5:30 here at the Guam Election Commission meeting. Okay, seeing no other business, entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, moved by Commissioner Meno, second by Commissioner Pat. It is, meeting is adjourned, it is 6:31.
Well,
Thank you.
6:32, but it's